this, as you can see, is the Panasonic 70-200 f4 box. I'm going to show you this for a reason. I'll get that in a minute. Now, this is a really good lens, and this is Panasonic's first full frame 70-200 sports style lens, basically. Now, what I have here in this whacking great big box is the 70-200, hang on, 70-200 f2.8 lens. Yeah, that's a lot bigger. Right, so what we're going to do, we'll do a quick unboxing and show you what's in the box, talk about my first impressions of the lens and what this video is actually about. So bear with me a minute. I have to put this down here because you won't be able to see me. Okay, right. We have a manual. Now I suggest you read this manual because I know this lens has a very special feature. Box on the top, which should contain the hood and a soft case, which probably never use. Put that out of the way. Okay, what have we got here? Bit of cardboard, bit of plastic, and there's the lens. Oh, that's heavy. Oh, that's a heavy lens, right. Okay, now, wow, that is a heavy lens. That is quite a bit heavier. Okay, now I'll take the hood off the 70-200 f4, and as you can see, there is quite a bit of difference. Yeah, that's a lot bigger. Okay, so what are you getting with the 70-200 2.8 over the f4? Obviously, you're getting a faster lens. This is an f2.8, this is an f4. And you're also getting better low light performance by one stop and a shallower depth of field. And in theory, you should have a faster performing lens and yeah, it should overall be better, to be truthful. Don't rule out the f4. Now, most of you won't know this, but my actual full-time job as a pro photographer is shooting sports. Most people know me for triathlons. I shoot Ironman races. Now, I stopped that about 2 years ago with Metro Gallery, concentrated on the gallery and walked away from that basically. And I also walked away from Nikon. I didn't want to shoot with Nikon anymore because more and more of my clients were asking for video. And I was so impressed with the in-body stabilization of the Panasonic. And when I heard rumors they were bringing out a full frame camera, I kind of jumped at the chance really. So I moved over to the Panasonic GH5 and GH5S, and then I moved to the S1, S1R, and the S1H, which is being recorded on, because I need that in-body stabilizer. When you're on the back of a motorbike doing 60 k's an hour taking photos, having that extra in-body stabilizer makes a big difference. And also if you're trying to shoot slow-mo video on the back of a motorbike, I don't want to carry a big gimbal with me or a rig. So that was why I shifted over. Now, when they announced that they will be making a 2.8 lens, I was really excited because the f4 is nice. Now, the f4 is a lens you can travel with. It's much smaller, as you can see. It's a smaller and lighter lens. So sometimes weight restrictions and traveling overseas, I will take an f4 and not a 2.8. And to be truthful, if I was told I could only take one lens to shoot a race, it would be a 70-200. I can shoot almost every part of the race on a 70-200 and get away with it. 24-70, 2.8, which is what this is being recorded on. Bit restricting basically, especially for runners and cyclists as well. So I do prefer a 70-200. I also have the brand new 16-35 f4, which I will be covering in a review later on. I'm going to review in both these lenses over the next couple of weeks. I have them for 2 weeks. I missed the launch on this, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to use this in the real world. I'm not going to do your standard type of sit in my office review and just ramble on about the lens. I'm going to go out and test it in the real world because that's what these lenses are about to me. They're about using them in the real world and seeing how they perform. You have two switches on the side. You have the lens stabilization, mode 1, mode 2 and off. And sometimes it can be handy to turn the lens stabilization off, especially if you're using a higher shutter speed, like over 1,000 a second, because it can slow down the lens when it's got that lens stabilization. It won't focus as fast. So turning it off sometimes can be quite handy. And then you have your range selector switch there. It has a manual focus override collar here, like most of the lenses have. So you just pull that down and go into manual focus. Now the nice thing is you can focus on one point in the manual focus, then pull the collar back up again and it's full autofocus. Then if you want to whiz back to that focus point, just pull the collar down and it'll whiz straight back to that point, which is really nice. And it makes it much faster to be able to focus sometimes. You also have two function buttons. So you can set these up to do whatever you want basically with the lens. Now the front of the lens is an 82mm filter thread, and that's the same as the 24-70 2.8, which I'm looking at straight now. I know people are going to moan about that. They want a 77, but if you want a sharper, faster lens, 82mm is the way to go. Now the lens hood is a petal style hood. So there you go. That's it there. Now this is an incredibly good lens. It's heavy, but I expect it to be heavy, to be truthful. Now I also have the 1.4 and the 2x teleconverter to test on this lens with the S1R and also the S1. Now the great thing with the 1.4, this turns this lens into nearly a 300mm f4, which is basically what I used to shoot my 300 f2.8 Nikon lens. I used to shoot that f4 because it wasn't the sharpest of 2.8. There's the lens attached to the S1R with the battery grip, which makes it a really nice lens. Actually, there's a good finger gap here on the collar. The collar can be moved around and the actual tripod collar can be removed. Now the tripod collar as well is Arc and Swiss compatible on the bottom, so you can just slap it into any Arc and Swiss tripod head basically, and away you go, especially for monopods. So it actually fits really nice in there. It is quite heavy, I will be honest. It's not a light system, but I'm used to Nikon D5s to be truthful, and it's about the same weight as that of 7200. It's a really good lens. Now what I want to do in this video is I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask me what you want to see in my review. What do you want me to test? Obviously I'm going to test this with sports photography, and I'm going to test its shadow depth field, its sharpness, and so on. That's something I'm going to test anyway, because I want to know how this lens performs, because I want to add it to my kit, because I'm going back to shooting triathlons very soon, and this is going to be my new system now, the S1R and the S1 basically, and maybe the S1H as well, because that is an incredible camera, and shooting on the back of the motorbike and shooting that for video is just going to be outstanding. But the main cameras I'll be using will be the S1 and the S1R with the 7200 2.8, the 24 to 70 2.8, and the new 16 to 35 f4. Those would be my kit lenses, basically what I will use for my races. Now what I want to know from you guys is what you want me to include in my review. Do you want me to do a video test on this? Because to be truthful, using the 2x teleconverter in Super 35, which will give me a very long telephoto lens with 60 frames a second, which would be quite interesting actually, because I know the stabilization with this lens and this camera is 7 stops, which handheld will be pretty impressive. So what I want you guys to do is leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you want me to test in this lens. Do you want me to test it up against my 70-200 f4, do a comparison in sharpness and go from there, or do you just want me to test it for video? Let me know down below. I'm going to be quite interested to test this 70-200 f4 up against this, because obviously these are a lot bigger. Look at this, there's massive difference between these two. Yeah, but this is a really good lens for traveling, I must admit. I'm very impressed with the lens, but there's a huge difference. I don't know whether I will keep this now. If I do purchase this lens, I'm not sure whether I'll keep the 70-200 f4. That was it really, just a quick video to give you my first impressions of this lens, what I think of it. So far, build quality is amazing. The zoom is super smooth. The manual override on the front for focusing is amazing. And the 2 function buttons on here are really nice too. And it has a removable tripod collar. So I'm looking forward to testing this over the next couple of weeks. So please let me know down in the comment section what you want me to include in my review, and I will do my best to include as much as I can in my review. As always, thank you very much for watching this video.